watching Movie Guide. I'm Evie Bear, and we're with Scott Mednick, who is a producer on the current Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but he's also produced a lot of great stuff that we've loved at Movie Guide. And this current one, we love. You did a great job at it.
I took a village.
Yeah, I know. It's a huge production.
It is.
And how did you get involved? Because this is like I know you've been excited about this movie for a long time, and when the script came along, like, tell us the process.
Well, I got a call from one of the gentlemen who had worked on the last animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, and said that Peter Laird, who created the comics with Kevin Eastman and then owned it, was interested in talking about doing a live-action film. And since I had been involved in the reboots of both Superman and Batman, I seemed like the right kind of guy to talk to. Went to Northampton, Massachusetts, had that conversation. He liked what we had to say, wrote a very big number down on a piece of paper and said, this is what it's going to cost. Yeah. So we thought about that for a couple of weeks. We decided it was well worth it, and that was 5 years ago. And then we wrote scripts, sold it to Paramount, kept reworking it to try to get exactly the right tone of what we wanted to do to bring this to a new generation. Yeah.
And the comic book drawers, they originally did it kind of as a joke, right? Or what is the story of them starting?
The original story, actually, if you have some extra cash, the very first drawing of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle is for sale right now for $2 million. So I know you can probably do that by this afternoon. But Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, as Kevin tells us, Peter used to watch really bad TV. And they were hanging around, and so Kevin, to annoy him, draws this Ninja Turtle and like shows it to Peter, and Peter's like, well, what's this? He goes, so it's a Ninja Turtle. Yeah. And they were making fun of all the great comics and they started to make fun of things, so they made 4 of them, and they started to top each other, and he had written Ninja Turtle, and so then Pete wrote in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. It just became this joke, and then they went into the kitchen, and they were at the sink, and they had one of those graters, you know, like a cheese grater. Yeah. And so Kevin goes, wow, wouldn't it be cool? And slides on his hand. He said, if the villain like could have this and like use it as a weapon, we'd call him the grater, you know? And so Pete was like, we'll call him the shredder. And it just sort of became this thing.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's
now,
pretty great.
How did you guys change the characters a little bit? I know that the comic books, they're kind of more ferocious turtles, and the TV series, they're a little bit less, but what did you guys decide on?
Well, I think that the point is this, that fans of the 1990 movie, which were the Henson Muppets, if you will, are very different from the actual comics, which were darker and black and white, and they had an edge. There have been so many iterations of the Turtles that what we felt was we had to give great respect to the canon, but the canon is all over the place. So we made a decision to say, the most important thing about the Turtles is that they are 4 brothers, and they have very distinct personalities. One of the things that we decided to do was, in the old days, even in the old movies, the only thing that differentiated one turtle from the other physically was the color of the mask. What we decided to do was, let's differentiate them so you know exactly who it is. They still have the different color bandanas, but they are different physical characters. Yeah. And the personalities are there. So we decided to say, it's 2014. If you were a Ninja Turtle living in the sewers in 2014, as a teenager, what would you be like? What would you have? In a sense, also the Foot Clan, then what would they be like? What would Shredder be like if he lived today? So it was just simply saying, let's plunk them down, knowing who they are, knowing what the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are in today's world, and give some reality to that experience. And that's really how the movie came to be.
Yeah, and how did you do the audition process for the Turtles? What was that process?
Well, the process in doing the Turtles is sort of twofold. Deborah Zane led the casting process, and in looking for the Turtles, the way that this motion capture technology works is, other than the physical strain of what they had to wear, they wear these enormous, like, skin-tight suits with these huge shells, but there's also 2 high-def cameras that sit right here. Okay. And those high-def cameras capture the facial expressions and the performance, which ILM then turns into the Turtles. So one of the things that we looked at was, who can bring to this character the actual acting. That's my phone. Who can bring to the character the actual feeling of who's Donatello, who's Michelangelo. When I watch the performances, I see those actors.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. You won't see it, but I know which one is which, and it's pretty great technology. So those guys, Megan Fox had something really interesting to say, which is, and I truly believe it, when you do a movie like this, those actors are acting with her. We then have to do what's called a clean plate, because there may be something where we don't want to erase that turtle, we just need the clean plate. So Megan actually has to act alone with no one there. And she was mentioning in every one of the takes, when there was not an actor there, it was her worst performance. It really is two actors working together with a turtle or with the four turtles. So those guys did yeoman's work and was happy they were at the premiere on Sunday to get their pictures taken so people can see who they are.
See their faces.
Yeah.
But each of them have such distinct characters. They're all very cute. Who's your favorite turtle? Do you have one? Or you can't say?
No, they're not my children, fortunately. I would have to say that for me, Mikey has always been my favorite turtle. I come to this when I did my first meeting with Peter Laird. I brought along a photograph of my oldest son, whose name is Michael, and we call him Mikey. And at like his 6th birthday party, in his turtle shirt, wearing, holding Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cereal, and I said to Pete, I said, this goes a long way for me. I said, I grew up with this, so it wasn't just another job for me. It was something that my kids loved, and therefore as a parent, I loved. And now they're in their 20s, so they're interested in seeing it. It's this multi-generational thing, and I hope we please the new fans of the new TV show, my kids who loved it, and parents like me whose kids grew up on it.
Yeah, I loved it. I watched all the TV shows and the movies, and it was fun, and your movie's fun. And what about Megan Fox? I heard she loves it too. She was a fan of it, and so that's why you kind of, one of the reasons to bring her on board?
Well, here's it's an interesting sort of journey when you make a movie. So before we had sold it to Paramount, and we had just gotten it, and we were developing our first script, the trades picked it up and announced that we had gotten the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The very first call I got was from her agent.
Really?
Chuck called me and said, Megan Fox has wanted to be April O'Neil since she was a little girl. We have to make this happen. We have to make this work. And again, that was 5 years ago. So it is wonderful to be able to see that come to fruition. And in addition, I was making a movie a couple of years ago in New York. Kobe Smulders was in my movie, and her husband is Taran Killam, who's on Saturday Night Live. And I became friends with Taran, who then told me, I am such an enormous Ninja Turtle fan. So Taran has a very small part. He's one of the reporters who he's a very funny scene with Whoopi Goldberg, but he's in the movie, and it's like, he's so excited that his childhood ambition, so in the process you find out all these people that loved it as kids, so I'm pretty excited. And Whoopi Goldberg was a huge, because of her children, they wanted her to be in this, and it's all worked out.
Thanks for watching. To find out more about entertainment news that follows your values, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, and like us on Facebook, so you can know before you go.